I want to start this video a little bit differently because it's not advice that I specifically give at a listing presentation or a buyer's consultation. This is advice that I would give to a friend if they called me up out of the blue and said, hey, we are considering selling, or hey, we are considering purchasing a home, but we're not really sure what we want to do yet. So no pressure, no timelines, no salesy conversation. This is just simple advice that I would give to someone who is moving to the Boston area or in or around the greater Boston area. And if you are watching this and you're a little bit early in the process, that's actually perfect. This is where the right information really matters the most. And just to set the stage a little bit here, the Boston market is a market where it's really easy to feel behind. So whether you feel behind time-wise, behind other buyers, the competition out there, not really sure about the right neighborhood, the right price. And what I see often happening is people rushing into a decision because they're underinformed, or on the other side, you can also freeze up sort of like a deer in headlights because you're not really sure about where to go next and end up doing the same thing year after year and staying where you're at and sort of being miserable in your current situation. The first thing I tell friends is this: there is no single right time to buy or sell a home. This is probably the one thing that I hear the most often in casual conversations when I'm out around the neighborhoods, people asking if now is a good time to buy or sell. This almost never helps the situation. The real important thing is whether now is the right time for you personally to buy or sell based on your specific situation. Generally, there is not a single right time for everyone to buy or sell in the Boston area. Neither I would recommend, especially jumping into a home purchase where you're not really sure if you want to move forward, finding yourself in the middle of that transaction and actually regretting it, knowing that you're probably going to be miserable in that house that you haven't actually even purchased yet. So here are a few things that I slow people down to think about. I have seen people buy in bad markets that end up doing incredibly well over the long term, and I have seen people wait in incredibly good markets and end up missing unbelievable opportunities that would have worked out perfectly for them. Boston especially does not move in clean cycles like a lot of people expect it to. There are different neighborhoods, different price points, different demand. Timing here is absolutely personal. It is not universal, and once you understand that, a lot of stress will start coming off your shoulders. The second thing I explain is Boston is not just one market. This is a collection of micro markets. So usually when you hear things like Boston is really hot or the Boston market is slowing right now, that is an enormous oversimplification. One neighborhood can feel extremely competitive, another neighborhood can feel very calm, one price range could move quickly, another could sit for a while. The single family suburban market could be really hot and the city condo market could be really slow, and even that is an oversimplification. So it very much varies by neighborhood, it varies by street. This is why broad advice from the headlines or social media can be very misleading. You really need context at that neighborhood level, at that street level. Once people understand that, they stop panicking and start making better decisions. The third thing to understand is you are always making a trade-off here. This is probably the hardest part for buyers, especially those moving from out of state. In the Boston area, you are almost always trading between three things: location, space, and price. Most people can get two, very few get all three. What causes the most frustration here is people just thinking the market is generally unfair instead of deciding which trade-off they are most comfortable making. Once you name that trade-off clearly, decisions get easier and they get faster. This applies to home sellers too. Price, timing, and certainty are all a trade-off. The fourth thing I tell my friends is the best decisions start early, and this is especially the case for sellers out there. The most successful sales that I see do not start at those listing consultations, those listing appointments. They start months earlier. They start with conversations around preparation, timing, what buyers are looking for in the market right now. When homeowners wait until they are ready to list before getting clarity, they end up limiting their options and creating frustration. Early conversations create flexibility, late conversations create pressure. I always tell friends you do not need to commit to anything to get a little bit more informed. The fifth thing I tell my friends is to ignore the noise and pay attention to the signals out there. It is insane how much noise there is around the real estate industry. You have interest rates, predictions, social media opinions. What matters more than any of those things are the signals. How long are those types of homes taking to sell in that specific area? What specifically are buyers responding to right now? How is pricing strategy changing? How is marketing strategy changing? This is why working with someone who watches the market every single week matters far more than just reading a headline or watching one video. The signal is always quieter than the noise out there, but if you truly have your finger on the pulse, if you know what you're looking for, all that noise fades into the background very, very quickly. The last thing I always say is this: the goal is confidence, not perfection. You are not trying to make the perfect decision. You are trying to make a confident one. There will always be something you wish was a little bit different, a little bit more space, a little bit better timing, a slightly different street. Confidence comes from understanding those trade-offs and choosing them intentionally, and that is it. If you're watching this and you're early in the process, that's actually the perfect place to be. This channel is here to help you get oriented, better understand the greater Boston area, help you stay a little bit more grounded before you make these big decisions. And if at any point you want to talk through your situation one-on-one, feel free to reach out to our team. We are happy to be a resource for you. But for now, enjoy the channel, watch some videos that feel like they're a match for you, and it should create a little bit more clarity for you. And as I said, you can give us a shout anytime. Thanks for watching.